Thanks for joining us here on 90s Plus. I'm Chris Bianchi with Ron or Rodrigo Mackey during the World Cup. Can we rename you Rodrigo Mackey?
I like Raul. I think Raul sounds cooler.
You said that was your name in Spanish class?
When I took, my French class, high school French with Mrs. Dix, 1985, Evergreen High School, shout out. Actually, that was junior high. So that was Evergreen Junior High School, Mrs. Dix. So that would have been 1982. Man, I'm old. By the way, I'm glad you got the black coat, white shirt memo. Good job.
Good job. Good job.
Yeah, that's good.
We did it
There
today.
we go.
Unfortunately, the whole thing, by the way, 9 News sports director Raul Mackey for the next couple of weeks as the World Cup goes on. Our streak of unfortunately accidentally predicting Broncos losses continues.
I predicted that they would lose. I thought that would jinx them. It didn't work. They lost again.
Yeah.
Holy smokes.
I mean, what to make of it? Broncos lose in. They seem to almost have a knack for finding ways to lose, losing 22-16 in overtime.
Yep. You nailed it on the head. They find different ways to lose every week. The only consistent thing is they're not scoring enough points. Again, I think that's 3 times they score 16. They don't score points. They don't score points. They're up 10-0. 3 times this season they've been up 10-0. In every game this season, you know how they had the running percentages of who's going to win? There has not been a game this season that the Broncos, at some point of that game, have not been the team supposed to win. Now, in Seattle, they never led in Seattle, but they were still supposed to win from the get-go. But in all the other games, they've either led or they were supposed to be the team to win, and yet they are 3-7. It's unbelievable.
I'll say maybe one bit of good news before we get into the inevitable bad. Russell Wilson looked like he had his best game as a Bronco to me.
I don't know if it was the best game. They started well. I like the way they started. They switched. We found out on Saturday night that Clint Kubiak was taking over play calling for Nathaniel Hackett. And to credit Hackett, this is the second time he's done that. He has stepped back. Everyone in this business has egos, and yet he has stepped back twice to put the team in front of the individual. So he realized that I'm not getting it done doing the play calling. He lets Clint Kubiak, who has done it in Minnesota before, go ahead and take over that role, which he will continue to do. And I thought they started off well when they got up 10-0. And had Melvin not fumbled that football going in at the end of the half, they're up 17-7. They have the momentum. I think they win. I think it's a completely different game. And I know even Melvin said afterwards, who's now no longer a Bronco, that it was just one play and there were still 2 quarters left and they still had the lead. But it just seemed to be another one of those, oh my gosh, here we go again. And that's exactly what happened. I mean, now they've got a 3-8 Carolina team, so a team that's technically even worse. And the Broncos are favored on the road against Carolina, which is remarkable. And then after this is when we run into that juggernaut schedule. So, and it doesn't matter. I mean, they're playing for pride, which is pretty tough this early in the season. But it's been abysmal.
Yeah.
It truly has been.
Kansas City home and away, still at the Rams, at the Cardinals. You got a bunch of
what's frustrating to you, Chris, is that the fact that they had this game won. The defense has been great. The defense had the game in their hands. Justin Simmons said so much afterwards. They had it. They should have stopped them, but the game never should have gone to overtime. They had their chances, a couple busted coverage plays, big plays on that final drive. They get down, kick a field. They did stop them to force overtime. I thought they were going to score when they got all the way down there on the busted coverage, but they stopped them 3 times to force a field goal. They go to overtime, and then Pat Surtain, who's obviously going to be an absolute superstar in the NFL, had a rough game, got burned by Devontae Adams, who's one of the best, the former Packer, one of the best receivers in the league. He had over 100 yards. I think it was 141. He's gone over 100 both times against them. Defense had this one. The offense only scored 16, but they did put the defense in position to close them out. So you can point the finger anywhere you like. There's a lot to go around. But again, bottom line is your record, and the Broncos are just not a good football team.
Melvin Gordon seems to be the culprit, I suppose, in the way that the Broncos handle it, because that was the one move they made after the game.
Well, I mean, the surprising thing, which I said on the air last night, is the only surprising thing about cutting Melvin Gordon is they didn't do it after the last time they lost to the Raiders. That they lost home, we've seen the same things on the sidelines. I believe it was against the Chargers in L.A. when he was pouting on the sidelines, retweeting people that said she should get traded. And, I mean, the thing is, fans don't care, but in the locker room, he has always been a stand-up guy. He's always been great with the media. Even after losses, even his last one, he talks to you, kind of explains what happened. I mean, he's trying. I mean, this is just, it got to be so mental with him that you could see him Larry Zonkin it. He's holding 2 hands on the football. He's not running as well as he used to, and yet he still turned it over. It's a move that had to be made. You just had to do something. And they don't exactly have a plethora of great backs out there. Anyway, big word for CU. But they had to do it. They just had to do it. I mean, that's not the reason. There's, it's one of 100 reasons, but this is a thing that they absolutely had to do.
3-7 Broncos, as you mentioned, at the 3-8 Carolina Panthers this weekend. What is on the line? Because it's clearly not the playoffs.
Nothing. Pride, just to not keep playing embarrassing football. I mean, they're not making the playoffs. By losing, they're not helping themselves get a draft pick because it keeps. Yeah, here's what you're playing for: it's to not give Seattle a number 1 pick or a number 2 pick overall. I mean, right now, the Texans are the only team. The Texans are the only team with fewer wins than the Broncos. There's a couple teams with 3 wins, including Carolina, but the Texans have 1. Everyone else has at least 3.
Now the Raiders, the 2 of them against the Broncos, which is
Raiders have 3 wins, but 2 were against Denver.
I guess. With that said, I think something that inevitably may be on the line are the job statuses of a few Broncos coaches, right?
Sure, but I mean, we've been saying that for weeks. You don't know what's going to happen. I mean, he's not going to be here next year. I think we can safely say that. And again, you hate talking about guys being fired, especially guys. I mean, Hackett's we get to do the coach show with him. He's great, but this is a bottom line business, and you have to win. And the Broncos aren't winning enough, unless they're going on a streak to close out the season undefeated, which isn't going to happen. He's not going to be here at the end. So the question is, will they do something in the season? Does that benefit them, or do they wait till the end? As we talked about last week, the benefit would be is if you're interested in perhaps having Jero Evero, the defensive coordinator, maybe be your head coach, then you'd like to get a look at him because there's going to be a lot of teams looking at this guy.
Number 1 defense.
They're. I mean, they broke a little bit this week, but they're still an absolute juggernaut. The thing is, it's going to be. He's a good friend with Hackett, and Coach E are both good friends. That's another. It's a very uncomfortable thing, but this is. I mean, this is. They always talk about you're hired to get fired in the coaching business. So it's tough. I don't. He's. Maybe if they win, maybe he'll save his job. But if he loses, I'm not going to say he's out of a job. He's going to be out of a job for next year. I just think that's pretty much inevitable. I think everyone thinks that. You got to change things up. The Broncos ownership group inherited everyone. So they're going to make some changes. They're going to make how big they are, pretty much locked into Russell with that contract, but everything else I think is on the table.
I was going to say, I mean, let's play the Sports Talk Radio inevitable hypothetical game here. Let's say the Broncos do
First-time caller, long-time listener. Love listening to you. Go ahead.
Mr. Mackey,
big fan.
Let's say the Broncos
big
win, I don't know, you said Hackett's probably not going to be here next year. What if they do end up winning, let's say, 4 of their final 6 games, something like that?
I don't think so.
No.
I just think they need to. I mean, and here's the injuries. It's true. It's been a big factor, but everyone has injuries. I know the Broncos have more, and they've had them at key spots. But I just think if it was like the Raiders, so the Raiders, for instance, Davis is the guy who hired McDaniels, and that's why McDaniels is more likely to hold on to the job because he was hired by the owner. These owners didn't hire Hackett. Mm-hmm. They didn't hire Payton. They didn't. They this was all inherited. So they're kind of standing back. The way I look at it, I mean, I don't, I'm not having any inside information, but the way I look at it is they're standing back. They're not doing anything now. They're kind of observing. They're learning this thing. This is all new. This is a brand new season, first time around, watching the way things run, and then I think in the off season, then that's when you'll see moves made.
Any final thoughts and or a prediction? I
know Brazil will win the World Cup. He said Argentina would finish higher than Brazil. I think we saw it today. We're taping this on a Tuesday. Behind the scenes look there. I think you guys can't beat Saudi Arabia. You're not going to get the better of Brazil. So I think the Brazilians, spelled with an S, will win the World Cup. And the U.S. got host. Got to win that game.
Got to win that game.
You're up on Wales. You got to win that game. It's still going to come down to probably a tiebreaker because they're going to beat Iran. Wales are going to beat Iran. Wales, they're both going to lose to England, and then it's going to be that whole goal differential thing. And you're the soccer guy, so you know more about that. But
I was going to say, look at this, Rod. You're rattling it off.
Couple
you're
weeks,
an expert.
Couple weeks a season, and then I'll every couple years, and then we'll go back to
back to your regularly scheduled doldrums.
All football, all Avs, all Nuggets, all the time. Yeah.
Oh, I mean, this is thrilling for our audience out here. I just want everybody to know how pumped I am to hear Rod talking so much soccer. Do you have a prediction for the Broncos American football game on Sunday?
I will say, I'm going to say they win 2 more games this year.
Wow.
I'm going to say they beat Carolina, and I'm going to say they beat Arizona at home. I predict 5 wins. Those are your 2 wins. keep this tape. We'll play it back at the end of the season.
I actually think they do get 2 more wins too. I think they're going to get one weird win, maybe Kansas City at home. Something that crazy.
They're not going to beat Kansas City. They could beat the Chargers at the end of the season.
Could beat the Chargers.
They always seem to split with the Chargers. They're not beating the Chiefs. Unless
at the Rams seems maybe.
At the Rams is possible, but it's on Christmas. It's at the Rams. Rams are horrible. Hey, let's end this on a positive. The Broncos aren't the worst, most disappointing story in football this year. It's absolutely, positively the Rams. Look where the Rams were. You're talking about the champions to 3 wins.
But they're
it's not
coming
even
off
close.
of the championship at least.
But that doesn't matter. That means they're better. That means they just won the Super Bowl. It's not even close. It's not even close. The Rams are by far the most disappointing team in football.
You said it last week.
Not even close.
You've been here 23 years.
Right.
You said this is the most disappointing season.
I've seen for the Broncos, but it doesn't compare to winning the Super Bowl and then winning 3 games. It's not close. It's not
I
close.
disagree. This is the most
not
disappointing.
close.
Come on.
No, they're not the most disappointing team. The Broncos are not the most disappointing team. Absolutely, positively not. The Rams are a way more disappointing team. The Broncos haven't made the playoffs in 6 years. This is a team that just won the Super Bowl. It's not even close. You stick to talking about soccer.
I'm
walking away on this.
All right.
It's not even close. The Broncos are bad, but it could be worse. There you go.
Raul Mackey, 9 News Sports Director. Thanks.
Yeah.